This is the story of the New Cross house fire. On Friday, 17th of January 1981, two girls, Yvonne Ruddock and Angela Jackson, were having a joint 16th birthday party at Yvonne's house at 439 New Cross Road. Many of the girls' friends turned up at this party, and there were said to be over 100 young people, including Yvonne's brother, Paul, and his friends. The party was such a success that it went on until the early hours of the morning of Saturday, the 18th of January 1981. Sometime in those early hours, the party unfortunately turned deadly as a fire broke out, trapping some of the young men and women in the house. Angela managed to survive the fire because she left the party early. However, Yvonne was badly injured in the fire and she was rushed off to hospital but died on the 24th of January 1981 of the injuries she sustained in the fire. Paul, her brother, also sadly died in the fire. The fire costed the lives of 13 young people, age ranging between 14 and 22. A survivor of the fire, Anthony Burbeck, traumatised by seeing his friends die in the fire, committed suicide on the 9th of July 1983 by jumping from the balcony of a council flat in South London, bringing the total death to 14. There was a lot of racial tension in the area where the party took place. The far-right white supremacist group, the National Front, were very active in this area. The police initially echoed the black community sentiment by believing that the fire was started deliberately. The police received a complaint about the noise coming from the house and initially thought that someone threw a firebomb into the house in revenge for the loud music. Angela, the surviving birthday girl, said that her and 5 others saw a white car fitting the description of a white Austin princess parked outside of the house and then subsequently driving away as soon as the fire started. The police put out a search for this car. However, after studying scientific evidence, the police concluded that the fire started inside the house after a group of boys started fighting. This was backed up by testimonies of 8 boys who were at the party. However, the local community believed that the fire was a racist attack and were hurt by the conclusion of the investigation, the public's indifference, and the media's biases. 25th of January 1981, 1 week after the fire, a meeting took place at the Moonshot Club in New Cross, followed by a march to the scene of the fire, with more than 2,000 people in attendance. The New Cross Massacre Action Committee was set up and was chaired by John LaRose, who was a political, cultural activist and poet who established New Beacon Books, the first Caribbean publishing company in Britain. The meetings were held every week and gained a massive attendance as more and more people from the community were angered by the conclusion from the investigation. The Action Committee organised a Black People's Day of Action on the 2nd of March with 20,000 people in attendance, marching from Fordham Park to Hyde Park, carrying placards with slogans such as 13 dead and nothing said, and no police cover-up. Though a peaceful protest, the Sun newspaper reported the march with the headline, "The Day the Blacks Run Riot in London." Riots occurred in Brixton and across the country as many in the community were outraged by the outcome. These headlines fueled further hostility between the black and white communities. May 1981, 3 months after the fire, an inquest took place at County Hall. Typically, an inquest for a case of this magnitude should have been called at least after 2 years. Helen Shaw from the Pressure Group Inquest stated that she believed that the authorities just wanted to hurry things up so the whole issue could be shut away and forgotten about. Dr. Arthur Gordon Davies, the person in charge of the inquest, was the most experienced coroner in the country, summed up to the jury that a fight had broken out at the party, even though everyone who made a statement supporting that theory retracted it. In fact, Robert Mackenzie, one of the boys, who was called in to be questioned, stated that the police refused to listen to him when he told them that there wasn't a fight at the party, and he felt that he had to just go along with their version of the events because the police already made up their minds about what happened. Dr. Davies stated that there were no evidence to suggest that the police coerced the young men to say things, and the pressures the boys felt came directly from external forces. The jury returned with an open verdict, which angered the families bereaved by the fire. Over 20 years after the fire, a second inquest was held in 2004. Police officers who were involved in the second inquest ruled out the idea that a fight broke out at the party and the belief that the attack came from an outside person. DS Mike Parks stated forensic science pinpointed that the armchair in the front room was the location of the fire, and it broke out at 5:40 a.m. Like the first inquest, the verdict in the second came back open. Recording artist and poet Linton Kwesi Johnson, one of the founding members of the New Cross Massacre Action Committee, stated in 2001 that he remained very sceptical about the Met's new investigation, and the Met is still refusing to investigate whether it was a firebomb thrown in a racist attack. The families who lost their loved ones in the fire have now accepted that the fire was started by someone inside the house. However, due to the nature of the investigation, there will always be doubts about the police's version of events. As of 2011, the investigation remains open with no new leads. Valentina Francis, the mother of the DJ at the party, Jerry Francis, who died in the fire, said, "I'll never give up. I love my son far too much. I don't think I can die before I find out what really happened to him." The deaths of these young people were commemorated in various reggae songs and poems, including Johnny Osborne's 13 Dead and Nothing Said, and Benjamin Zephaniah's 13 Dead. The victims were also commemorated in January 2011 with a blue plaque from Nubian Jack Community Trust. In 2012, a stone memorial in Fordham Park, Deptford, was installed, listing those who died. Facing the stone memorial is a bench with a memorial inscription. Thank you for listening. This has been The Unreported.